Hello, Scott here with another completely unprofessional unboxing, and unfortunately, it's just going to be me this time. One of my co-pilots, either my silly daughter or my sarcastic son, um, are still enjoying their summer vacation at the moment. In other words, still in bed. But, that's what you get to do when you are a young kid and you get the summers off, and mommy and daddy are enjoying the quiet mornings. Um, Anywho, so I am going to go ahead and proceed with what we have here and open it up and just kind of briefly go over what it is and why I have it. So, without any further ado, I have my trusty Coleman um, camping steak knife to cut this open, and let's see if today is the day when I slice off a finger or an artery by mistake, which I don't think will happen with this one simply because, yeah, these FedEx boxes are usually fairly easy to open even when they are reused. Okay. And, I speaketh too sooneth. Um, and there we go. And it's wrapped and secured. I mean, it's always interesting to see when you get some of these that are from third parties or resellers or whatnot, the ways that they make sure, things arrive safely. Some are wonderful and some not so much. And this one's not too bad. So just remove this and there we go. So what do we have here? Well, what we have is the Cults of Terror. 9 Dangerous Deities for RuneQuest role-playing, which was originally published either for RuneQuest first or second edition. Don't quote me on that. I know some people are probably screaming at me right now. But the primary reason for this is I'm currently in what is the beginnings of a RuneQuest campaign being run by Pookie from Reviews at Rilia, or Reviews from Rilia. And it's been some time now since I've been interested in RuneQuest, been chipping away slowly at the lore, which a lot of people find to be one of the intimidating aspects about getting in RuneQuest, such as the way with some other games, such as Empire of the Petal Throne, even the history of Warhammer in the old world. Some of those are so entrenched in decades of lore that's either been built upon, broken down, recreated again, and back and forth, that some people feel like, well, I don't know if I want to get invested in this because I don't want to read, 8 million pages of lore that I may not even touch upon within the game. So, but for me, I find that kind of intriguing. I am a history buff. I am a lore buff. I like knowing the inner workings and machinations of a game, and love that more so than probably the mechanics of most game systems. Mechanics, if they work, they work, and if they fold over well within what the game is trying to present, so be it. But for me, lore, rich history, and backgrounds of certain games are more enticing to me than any sort of special mechanics that are being presented within it. So back to this Cults of Terror. So, within the RuneQuest world, there's cults are very important. Belonging to a cult, being parts of cults, and prior to this book, there was a book called Cults of Prax, which dealt with a variety of cults and religious aspects that player characters, could get more information on or get more in depth in. This one dealt more with opposing cults, things to enrich your game and bring a lot of the more evil or negative aspects of your players' RuneQuest game, to give them some opposition, some trials and tribulations to come up against as they explore the world of Glorantha. But the other thing about this is I have found, which I kind of enjoy personally, that in explaining a lot of the world of Glorantha in the older books. The steps they took were a lot more compressed. The word count was smaller. A lot of the explanations were simplified, not discounting where they are now, but the exposition that is presented in things like the Guide to Glorantha books. You can see where 1,600 pages, here's the history of the world that you play in, is almost identical to a GM giving you his spiral-bound notebook of the world he's created and said, here, learn this before you play my game. But I've noticed in a lot of the older books, when they go into the explanation of the world, especially here in Glorantha, what takes pages and pages in some of the newer books is a few paragraphs, more easily digestible, which I am not a fast reader, slightly dyslexic, so even reading something short can take a bit of time for me. So when things are compressed in an easier digestible form, but still giving me the same information that would normally be given in some of the other books, this is a great introductory. And then if I ever need to get additional information, I can go into the newer books and add on to that. But these little bits make for a far better foundation and presentation to get people into the world of Glorantha lore-wise, as opposed to some of the other ones. But the other thing I've noted is in this particular book also is outside of, which was kind of surprising to me, you would think you would open this up and immediately, jump into the various cults. 9 dangerous deities for the RuneQuest role-playing game. Sorry, I can't talk this morning. But what it does in the beginning is it goes into this wonderful short explanation of time and the importance of time in this game. Time is important in when you're running within RuneQuest and Glorantha. The importance of the calendar, the importance of the religious holidays, the importance of timekeeping, more so than any other game that I've, probably next to maybe old school Dragonlance, and that was for silly reasons. Keeping track of the calendar and the time is very important within this game, but rather than making it be a bookkeeping headache, it gives a variety of reasons as to why, and it makes it more interesting. It really fleshes out the world, and you appreciate the fact. And of course, it then harkens towards the ongoing joke of when you first join a game in Glorantha, the first thing you ask is, what year is it? So it goes through that, and then it kind of branches off a bit into a variety of a sample of cults, rune spells and whatnot. But the one thing that I wanted to touch upon was, after it goes through that, is if you're looking for a nice kind of Cliff Notes version of the cosmology of Glorantha, the thing that kind of keeps people from wanting to take the first step forward, that imposing history of the world. Here, within this book, is a wonderful, just few pages, several paragraphs, breaking it down, the before creation, the celestial court, onwards through, the God's War, the birth of chaos. And, I know there's the smaller book, the Guide to Glorantha, or whatever it's called. I'm drawing a blank on it, which does shrink it down a bit, but this does it even more so. So the value of this book alone in just being able to briefly tell someone about the Lightbringer's quest in 6 paragraphs. And mind you, yes, I can hear Bud saying that of course this is a one-sided presentation. But regardless of how it's being presented, at least it's a little bit more digestible than some of the other things that are out there in regards to the history of Glorantha and where its background and where it comes from. And then it goes on through the history, on through Arcat and the Gabaji Wars. If I'm not pronouncing that correctly, too bad. And onwards into the Second Age, into the Third Age, and then excuse me, and then there's a reminiscence of Paulus Longvale, who goes on to describe, his experiences through a particular age. And then we get on to the guts of the primary conceit of the book, the different gods of chaos and the other gods of, I know I'm going to probably step on it, but the gods of evil and whatnot. Wonderful drawing here from Janelle Jaquez. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but a lot of her drawings were in some of the original books of RuneQuest, I believe. I am not a RuneQuest historian, so don't come at me with that. But, I mean, granted, now a lot of this information, will it be pertinent to your most recent version of RuneQuest, role-playing in Glorantha? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, the big thing about these books is not necessarily in regards to the components of the game, but more adding to the lore, adding to your knowledge of the history of the variety of the gods and cults that exist within the game. That is still touched upon. I'm not trying to invalidate, the newer books, by no means, but, having these as a little bit of an easier cornerstone to see if this is something that you want to, travel forth into and learn more about. I mean, reading briefly on the mythos and history of the Crimson Bat will allow you to, well, do I want to go into this further within my newer RuneQuest game and, go into the the more in-depth history within the current version. So the couple reasons why I wanted to get, this particular book was, one, just wanting to get more information on, the variety of deities within the Cults of Terror book. Two, it was significantly less than the reprint at Chaosium, which is rare. So the reprints at Chaosium are fantastic. I mean, they give you the exact same information, but got lucky finding this one used that is in good and serviceable state of use, so it's not falling apart. So, I mean, save a buck on this and was able to get the same information. But back to what I was saying, and I'll wrap up here. So, yes, Cults of Terror. Is it going to give you anything additional to your game as far as any special components, tables, anything usable within the rules of the game? I don't know. I haven't read it yet. Do I think it will? Probably not. But is it going to give me an opportunity to grab some of the existing lore, digest it a little bit easier and quicker than going through some of the more historical books, and then decide if that's something that I want to follow up with and learn more about? Absolutely, without question. And that's why, if you're able to get this book, or if you are looking at getting the reprint at Chaosium, don't hesitate. Do not hesitate to get these older books in regards to RuneQuest, because the way the lore is presented here is why so many people know it today, because this was their foundation. These few little paragraphs that started out in the beginning as just that, and that became pages and pages and volumes as the history grew. This is where they started. So nothing says that even if it's your first time within playing within RuneQuest and venturing into Glorantha, that just because these are decades old, God, like myself, never mind. But that was a bad joke, but just feeling my age. That, unlike some of the lore books, that exist for other role-playing games that seem to become invalid as the game has progressed through the years, this is still as important and pertinent as any bit of history or lore in the newer books today. So I think that about wraps it up. My voice is starting to give on me, so obviously I need to get a drink here soon. So thank you once again. My name is Scott, and thank you for coming to another completely unprofessional unboxing. And I hope you enjoyed my brief and completely unprofessional and let's see, probably not too bad of a take on RuneQuest for being such a a pleb myself. But hope you enjoy it. Next time, looking forward to having my silly daughter back or my cynical son for an unboxing that they would want to do. But until then, have an excellent day, good gaming, and take care.